just not. It's never like a punishment or reasonable for a human being to be raped because they are accused of a crime.
Today, the man who was supposed to keep women safe instead found out that he's going to be in a federal prison for the next 30 years. Marquette Johnson admitted to raping 3 women in his custody, one of them while passing through Bernalillo County.
But the federal investigation identified a dozen other alleged victims. Brittany Costello joins us from the federal courthouse downtown with what all she's learned here.
The judge told Johnson today he violated the public trust with people who could not protect themselves, saying there's nothing worse, before handing down the max sentence. Marquette Johnson was a prisoner transport guard working for Inmate Services Corporation. In 2019, he was using these vans to pick up and drop off inmates across the country. But First Assistant U.S. Attorney for New Mexico, Holland Castron, says he was doing a lot more than that.
Johnson was calculated. He proactively sought out and created opportunities to be alone with these women that he transported.
In December, Johnson admitted to raping 3 inmates in his custody, but investigators know of a dozen others. One woman says he threatened her with a gun. She was assaulted in 2019 near the Metropolitan Detention Center in Albuquerque after he dropped off other inmates. Attorney Laura Schauer-Ives represents her. We talked to her in December.
It's just not. It's never like a punishment or reasonable for a human being to be raped because they are accused of a crime.
Tuesday, Johnson was back in federal court where he was sentenced to 30 years in prison.
While this sentence cannot undo the emotional and physical trauma that Mr. Johnson caused TP and these other victims, it will ensure that Johnson spends decades in prison.
But there are more questions about other victims, whether Inmate Services Corporation did enough to protect inmates, and who will hold those private companies accountable. The U.S. Attorney's Office wouldn't speak to that.
We, as well as DOJ, are exploring our options within our authorities to address and prevent the future exploitation of vulnerable victims like these.
We encourage survivors to find the courage